In the age of Old England, when the fields of Suffolk rolled under grey skies and villages lay silent like secrets, there stood the humble settlement of Woolpit, a place of farmers, millers and weary pilgrims who worked the land and whispered of things unseen. It was during one such season, when harvest neared and summer began to fade, that something stranger than dream or omen stirred the hearts of all who dwelt there, for in the deep folds of the fields near the ancient wolf pits 2 children appeared where no road led and no traveller passed. They were not like any known kin. Their skin bore the faint hue of green, as though touched by emerald shadows, and their clothing woven from threads unknown carried colours softened by strange light. They stood trembling, afraid of every gaze, stranded between worlds that had no bridge. The villagers approached wary yet curious, for such a sight had never been beheld. Some believed them spirits, others thought them cursed or cast away by witchcraft. They spoke words no one could understand. Their language flowed like distant river water, unfamiliar and sorrowful. And while the villagers brought bread, meat and warm broth, the children turned away, shrinking from every dish, as though the very scent was foreign. Days passed, and hunger grew fierce within them, until green beans, fresh from the fields, were placed before them. Then at last they ate, as though finding a memory lost for an age. It was then the villagers knew these children came from a realm beyond their knowing, and though they gave them shelter, fear lingered like a mist at dawn. The boy, frail and quiet, faded with each passing day, his eyes drifting beyond this earth, until at last his breath left him, and he lay still beneath Woolpit soil. The girl remained, her sorrow etched not by tears, but by silence. She grew stronger, learning the ways of the villagers, though her speech bore echoes of faraway hills. She was questioned many times where had she come from, and she spoke of a place she called St. Martin's Land, a world where light was neither day nor night, but a twilight that never broke, where all around was green and rivers glowed with dim shimmer, where people like her lived in peace but never saw the burning sun. She told of wandering into a cavern, following the ringing of great bells, unlike any chime that ever blessed church or hall, and beyond the cavern they found a path of brightness that blinded them until they awoke in Woolpit upon unknown soil. Some villagers believed her words as truth, ancient and untouched, while others whispered she was a fey child, a changeling left by spirits to test mortal faith. Her green hue slowly faded, yet never quite left her veins. Like a secret that refused surrender, she worked among them, living as one of their own, yet kept apart by invisible thread. Villagers wondered if she longed to return to her hidden land, if ever she searched the fields at dusk, when the world grows thin between realms, watching for their lighted passage that once carried her across the boundary of fate. But she never spoke of the boy nor the grave that marked his rest. Only silence cloaked those memories, for grief has no tongue when born of distance and doubt. Years turned like pages, and though she grew into womanhood, the mystery clung to her name. Travellers came to Woolpit asking of the tale, and some claimed they too had glimpsed lands where twilight reigns and bells sing beneath the earth, though no proof was ever set in stone. Each night as winds passed through hedges, the village would remember the morning when green figures stepped from nowhere and shadows trembled as a fearing return. The elders said perhaps she was sent to remind them that their world holds many doors unseen, that one might unknowingly walk from dream to waking without step or map, for such is the nature of places that do not wish to be found. She told once of fields where the air was heavy like sleep, and skies draped in dim colour where nothing ever changed, and silence was a constant hymn. She described tall towers grown not built, and waters that shone without sun, and how her people believed there was another realm above theirs, yet none dared seek it, until the sound of bells one day called them forth. She remembered crossing a river of light, then darkness, then awakening in terror among fields of wheat where human voices rang like iron. Life in Woolpit taught her work, taught her hunger, taught her love, yet never stole the look in her eyes that spoke of exile. In harvest festivals she stood among dancers, but never danced. In winter feasts she shared bread, but tasted little, for though she lived among men, part of her lingered in that verdant gloom, that St. Martin's land of endless hush and unseen faith. No priest could claim her soul, no lord could claim her story. She walked gardens after rain, touching leaves as if in search of familiar breath. She listened at night for bells that never rang again, and when strangers asked her truth she gave only fragments. For truth is a fragile coin, and hers bore weight beyond mortal years. The villagers aged the children of those who first found her grew tall and strong, and yet the tale endured, carried by firelight and winter tongues. 2 green children born not of earth, but of mystery, one lost, one left behind to wander the edge of reason and belief. They said she never fully grew old, that her skin though pale kept glimmer of that first otherworldly shade, and they said when she passed no church bell tolled nor burial was seen. She simply vanished as she came, leaving Behind neither grave nor footprint, only an empty bed and an open door facing the fields. In later years some swore they saw her figure at twilight, a woman clad in faded garb standing near the wolf pits, her hands at her sides, her eyes lifted to a horizon unseen, and though none dared approach, she seemed neither ghost nor flesh, but something between, as the mists curled about her feet. Then she would fade into air as though drawn back across the veil. The world spoke of Woolpit in hushed wonder, and scholars argued if the children were myth, a marvel, yet no parchment, ink nor sermon could claim the last word. For in places where the earth breathes old secrets and the wind keeps vows, there lie paths that mortal steps rarely trace, and sometimes through those paths come wanderers bearing signs of fields beyond sight. The Green Children of Woolpit remained a question written not on pages, but on hearts, a remembrance that boundaries are thin, and that somewhere beneath land or above sky lies a realm where twilight never dies and bells call travellers home, though none know from where nor to where they truly go.